Like he was dodging in and out of traffic at up to 260 kilometres an hour.
Yeah, I know.
He had a death wish. Simple as that.
Well, he almost got it.
Yep. Hi everyone, thanks for watching, tuning in. So I haven't been on this road for a while. Have you been up here recently?
No, not for a long time.
Have you heard about proposed laws that they're bringing in about speeding?
I've heard about them briefly.
So what they're proposing is jail time for people who are excessively speeding. So that means if you're in a 60 zone and you're to go 55 kilometres an hour over that speed limit, so to 115 kilometres an hour.
In a 60
in
zone?
A 60, I mean that's pretty insane, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
So so you could be jailed for like 3 years.
They often say this, but in reality, does it ever happen?
They did release a video with the with this news of a motorcyclist who was travelling through reasonably heavy traffic, and he got up to speeds of over excess of 260 kilometres an hour, and he ran into the back of a ute.
He survived and had a brain injury, needs someone to look after him. Look, for repeat offenders, for people who are really doing speed excessively, I'm actually a fan of putting people away or jailing them if, you know, it's just a ridiculous speed.
The thing is, there's got to be, because people who are wealthy,
yeah,
they can afford paying a $1,500 fine or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And it's like just a tiny little dent in their pocket.
What about taking their license away?
Yeah.
It doesn't work though, Chris. You see many people who are caught and they've already had their license suspended, but they still drive.
Yeah.
I don't think taking the license away does anything. And I don't want to put people in jail. No one wants to put people in jail. But if they're going to put other people's lives in danger through really just being stupid, just for a little bit of fun,
it can't. I don't think it should be, a black and white rule. I think in life nothing's black and white. There's always shades of grey. Like I think if it's a 60 zone, I think that's just crazy. I mean, you've got other traffic, you've got pedestrians. There was a video just released recently of a motorcycle crashing, and the bike nearly spun off and hit a baby in a pram.
Yeah.
And if you're going to be speeding in a 60 zone where there's pedestrians, where there's cars, motorcycles have killed passengers in cars.
Yeah.
That does happen. So if a motorcyclist is saying, oh, you're only endangering your own life, not other people's life, well, that's a load of BS.
Yeah,
because,
it's not, yeah.
You can kill other people. And I think in 60 zones, it's a 60 zone because there is traffic entering, there are pedestrians, etc, etc. So I think certainly in that speed zone area, I think people do need to be threatened with jail time, and I think people do need to be put away for speeds in 80 kilometre an hour zones or over. If you're exceeding the speed limit by, I think it's 80 kilometres an hour. In my opinion, no other traffic inside, perfectly smooth road, very little danger to any other road user, and you get jailed for that. I think that's an excessive punishment, personally.
Well, I think one of the issues, well, in South Australia particularly, I mean it would probably be the same elsewhere in the world, is sometimes you really don't know what the speed limit is.
Yeah.
Like, What's the speed limit on this road, Chris? So when was the last time we saw a sign indicating the speed?
Well, just by the by this happening here.
No, around a corner like that, it is so dangerous.
Like, yeah, so...
That is just...
Is that just a perfect example, a perfect time of why you should not be speeding?
That is just really dangerous.
But, yeah, this is quite clearly a 60 road.
I'm so tempted to stop those people and speak nicely to them and say, you doing a U-turn on a corner like that is just incredibly dangerous. But this could be easily an 80-kilometre zone. Now, we only have to look down once and we will miss that one sign.
Yeah.
And we think it's 80. So we could, doing 80, honestly believing that it's 80 because we haven't seen a sign.
Yeah.
And that's 20 k's over the speed limit, which is a significant fine and possible loss of demerit points.
It's certainly not 80 kilometres an hour over the speed limit. And I think that's why they've set these speeds quite high. So for example, if you're in a 100 km/h zone and you're going over 180 kilometres an hour...
I mean, if we're all honest, everyone has sped, intentionally or not, sometime in their life. And when you're on a big powerful machine like this, it gets very tempting.
So I think that's where there could be a little bit of leeway. You know, if it is the conditions, the road, there's no other people, you know, first offender, that sort of thing. Well, gee.
He nearly came in. Yeah, he was going to come straight for you.
Yeah.
And there's an example of a motorcyclist not riding as safely as he could, and he was right behind that car, right up his bum.
You've just released not too long ago a video about people's riding habits, bad habits.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I get frustrated with when I watch other motorcyclists, how closely they travel to the car in front. And there are plenty of videos on YouTube that show people crashing into the back of cars.
Yeah, rear-ending.
Yeah. And I think it's one of the most stupid things people do on the road. Because there's really no need for it. So what is your feeling? Do you think this law, if it comes into effect, would be a positive thing, or?
I personally, I mean, they're talking about significant speed, and the person doing that speed would be well aware that they're speeding and being reckless. Therefore, I'm afraid I don't have a lot of sympathy for them at that speed.
Yeah.
I really don't, and I know that might sound harsh, but I think the shoe would, you know, it'd be, if that cyclist had some of their family member killed because someone was being reckless, they'd be pretty upset themselves. So yeah, I think it's, for significant speed, I think it is.
I would agree with you. The only little point that I would add would be, I think it's significantly worse when there's other traffic around.
Yes.
When there's pedestrians.
But even on an open road, and I know it is less dangerous, but even on an open road, if the speed limit is 100 k's an hour and there's no one around and all that sort of stuff, and they're doing 180 kilometres an hour.
Yeah, it's still illegal, and still you're going to get a big, huge fine, and maybe lose your licence. But to go to jail, that jail is a huge thing, and people don't
Yeah, I know.
I wouldn't want to spend 1 week in jail, let alone 3 years.
Yeah, me either.
So if if it's a real black and white rule, if you get caught doing say 190 when you're overtaking someone on a freeway, and you're going to jail for 3 years,
Yes.
I think that's perhaps pushing it.
Yeah. So, Chris, in conclusion,
Yep.
as I've said, look, if it's significant speed and putting people's lives at risk, I don't have a lot of sympathy for them. They know they're doing it wrong. They know they're speeding.
It's like that Motor Accident Commission video, the advert that's going around at the moment.
Yeah.
You've seen that one? Where the guys...
Or if you drink drive or something, or...
And he says to the camera, I'm a selfish prick. Consider your loved ones, consider the pain and anguish they'll go through. Consider the people lives you may affect just because you're a selfish prick and just wanted a bit of fun. I would have no sympathy for people who are doing those things around traffic, around pedestrians.
Yeah. And we all have done silly things at times, all of us. But there are varying degrees of silliness.
So I think each case should probably be taken on its own merits. I think it's very hard to have one hard and fast rule. But I'm not opposed to it. I'm not completely opposed to the jail time thing.
Let's say they did a blitz in the Adelaide Hills a couple of months ago, actually, not that long ago, where there was, I don't know, many people caught speeding. 60% of them were motorcyclists.
You could still feel speed going around these bends and not actually be speeding.
That's right. Chris?
So little fun spurts like that are quite fun. And I'm not breaking the law.
Yeah. Well, the speed limit here is 80 k's.
Yeah.
Now, 80 kilometres an hour around these really tight corners. Well, I mean, again, you and I aren't MotoGP riders, but for us, it would be at our limits, I think.
Yeah.
80 kilometres an hour in these really tight
So I'm going
corners.
80 now.
Yeah, this is 80 now.
That's
Oh,
just that acceleration going out of corners. That's I find that heaps of fun.
and particularly on roads like this, which are crap, they really are. The surfaces on these roads are just unbelievably bad.
It's one of my favourite roads still. I just got up to 80 just briefly there. That's a lot of fun. And you're not breaking the speed limit.
Yeah. So you can have fun. If you want to do that 180 k an hour, there's a town not too far from Adelaide. It's called the Bend or Malala. They're both tracks where you're able to do those sorts of speeds legally.
True.
So guys, thank you for watching. We really do appreciate your support. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed and you love our banter and our videos, consider subscribing and give us a comment. What do you think? For excessive speed, should you go to jail?
Yeah, let us know.
Well, take care, ride safe, and we'll see you next time.
See you later.
What was that?
Those birds, a couple of birds nearly hit you.
Oh,
I think they were rosellas. Oh, something about birds that I discovered recently. You know our state emblem?
yeah. The piping shrike.
It's called the piping shrike, but it's
Yeah.
actually an image of a magpie.
Yes. it
And
is.
a pipe, and also a piping shrike does not exist. There's no such bird as a piping shrike.
Oh.
The
I
bird,
thought-
the bird I thought was a piping shrike is actually called,
A Murray magpie.
yes, otherwise known as a magpie lark
Yes.
or a peewee.
Yes.
Yeah. You knew that
Well,
because
I'm
you're a
into-
bird expert.
Well, I know a bit about birds. We'll stop here and turn our cameras off.
Yep. Okay. Because I thought the magpie lark was the piping shrike, but it's not.